That's what Trevor calls it.
Not only have something to make it very obvious to him.
You need to keep your straight because charging is going to be
When you used to have all your hair. I got no more.
The only time I cry is when I want to get well, I know it's going to be bad the way it's only a long time ago he told me I was going to the Canada with the when the drives up my buddy, when I heard the first time back, the first thing I did was call him on the phone and tell him, make sure that I don't know what they ever got on.
Just because of the non-code, I can tell my newspapers. Yeah. It's just
They're the ones that
generally 2 weeks out.
taking the suit and everything, and they're the only guys that fight for the money.
Tell my neighbors real quick.
Yeah, but it's just in the week, take like 2-3 months ago. They're still fighting with those
I don't understand. I found out long, I don't hate anybody that's obvious my life. And holding grudges, the only thing that happens to people that hold grudges is bother the hell out of them and has a bother the other You're the one that sucks. I made up my mind many years ago because I had so much control over it, I don't the guy told me many years ago, everybody has their own type of rock to carry. But you carry mine. You carry mine because I don't have time to.
Lee, where's Kelly?
I never hate anybody because I don't know anybody that's working ever.
Trevor Michael, this is Paula.
Hi.
There's Tyler. Thanks for bringing me. Keep on keeping spelling myself. Hi. How are you? Long time. How are you? I'm starting.
I went to Dennis Daniels' wedding. The four and the that
Kind of. That doesn't shoot cute. Always her eyes. His grandpa was ready to so yeah, absolutely. Does her hair cute? So cute. Oh, that's right. You were. I was in.
Yeah, right. It's too. I work there, but it's too expensive for me.
I knew you, but with blonde hair, I didn't know. I love you too. You look beautiful. Yeah, she went to say hi. Good. Oh, hello. I have hello. But soon we're going to change it. Really stay Can I get you the remote up there? Turn it down. Everybody that's going to be in for family prayer.
Just trying to get other things down.
Thank you. It's got. I should have worn. I should have. I haven't went one. There we go.
Gee, you should just survive.
I know.
What's the matter with that? I mean, but like I said, I can do it if you want.
He's just He may be able to help you too. But he's the one he's going to be to those two songs.
I've actually done
I feel better tonight. I
He's right. He's like, what? I know. Yeah, I feel like it's just like, they're like, we're ready.
If anyone would like the last moment briefly at the casket before we have the family prayer and the closing of the casket, would invite you to step forward and do that. After everybody that desires has had that opportunity, then we'll proceed. So everyone is good with the thing? Let's get this started. This time we'll have the family prayer and that will be offered by Joe Peters. Our Father in heaven, as we meet here today, remember Paula, kids and her kids, her posterity, family, friends. Grateful for her, the memories we all have. All should cherish. Because of her. We send her your way. She's grateful we could all be here together as a family to enjoy each other. Continue the love and friendship that we should all have. We're grateful for. Father, we ask our Spirit to be with us through this time and we'll all be comforted. Celebrate her life. theirs. At the conclusion of the service, we'll invite you to come back into this room and escort the casket out. There's some brochure to the funeral coach. But then when they turn the service, just sit with your families for that. We'll now open the curtain and take the casket into the chapel, followed by
Will the congregation please stand?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Preston Bills. I'm going to read the program so that we know exactly all the order that everything's supposed to be done in. Paula Patricia Palmer Murphy, born June 6, 1927, and passed away on September 2nd, 2022. Funeral services are Thursday, September 8th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Fine Funeral Home, Rexburg, Idaho. Pallbearers are Robert DeRoche, Justin DeRoche, Doug Cook, Joseph Jenkins, Levi Jenkins. That helps if I get a little closer. I'm a little old. Ashley Reese, Damon Reese, Trevor Jenkins, and Tyler Jenkins. Honorary pallbearers: Jake Cook, Noah Jenkins, Alec DeRoche, Preston Jenkins, Levi Jenkins II. Family prayer has been given by Joel Jenkins. Congressional hymn will be hymn number 301, I Am a Child of God. Invocation will be given by Robert DeRoche. Life sketch will be given by Charlene DeRoche. The tribute will be Marion Keller, Anita Hart, and Deanna Jenkins. Congressional hymn will be number 152. God be with you till we meet again, and the benediction will be given by Levi Jenkins. After that, we'll go to Fielding Memorial Park in Idaho Falls, and the dedicatory prayer will be given by Justin DeRoche. Thank you very much.
Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we're grateful to gather here today as family and friends and to honor Paula Murphy, a beloved sister, mother, grandma, great grandma. Grateful for her life, for all of her love, her influence. And so we're gathered here, and we can honor that, her life, and cherish it. And we'll be able to all be safe on our travels home, and everybody be comforted by the Spirit. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
It's beautiful to see you all here. And thank you so much for coming. Mother would be happy to see you all. And if it wasn't for Mom and Dad, a lot of us wouldn't be here. I'm to give a life sketch. Anita says now I'm the matriarch, so that makes me the oldest of all of you. Paula Patricia Palmer, when she was born, one of the relatives called her the 3 Ps. Mom was born in Cloten, North Dakota, June 6, 1927, to Dick Dean Palmer and Albina Georgina Stone Palmer. Mom was the oldest of 10 children. She had many fond memories of her growing up with her siblings. Mom lived and grew up in Cut Bank, Montana. Cut Bank is a small town 30 miles south of the Canadian border and 45 miles east of Glacier Park. As a family, we would go there often to Glacier for picnics and to pick huckleberries. We enjoyed the time that we had together there. Mom attended Cut Bank High School when she met our dad, George Murphy. He was a young Native American descent from Browning, Montana. We are proud of our Blackfoot heritage, and our kids always say, I'm part Blackfoot, I'm part Indian. Dad's sister Helen was 3 years younger than Mother, and they were great friends. They married June 24, 1945. They had 5 children and 1 adopted child. The oldest is Charlene Francis. We didn't have to do the Francis. Next is George Edward, and he passed away in a motorcycle accident in August of 1981. He was about Dad's age, 35. Next is Anita Janine. Then is Gerald Arthur. Gerald only lived a couple weeks. Next is Deborah Gay, and she was the one that was adopted from a niece of my dad's. We always called her our sister. We never thought of her anything different than that. Next is Deanna Marie, and she's the youngest of all our family. And she always bosses us, and she says that's because she's the mother. Not that Anita and I aren't mothers. Our dad passed away in a work-related accident in November 1964. Mom was left with 4 children, still at home. At the time, a year after Dad died, I was married and left with my husband, Bob DeRoche, to Wyoming. Mom decided to move the family to Idaho Falls in the fall of 1967. This was very brave of Mom to do this. She knew no one there. Her goal was to earn her LPN license. She attended nurses school at Sacred Heart Hospital in Idaho Falls, where she did receive her LPN. She then worked at the LDS hospital for the next 3 years. She then decided she wanted an RN license. So again she moved to Ricks College and moved the family. At that time, Debbie and Deanna were home. She passed with a score of 100. She attended Ricks College, where she graduated at the top of her class with her RN license, August 16, 1972. She worked as an RN at Madison Memorial Hospital as a med surgical nurse and as a head charge nurse until she retired in 1994. She loved nursing. I asked Mom how she studied and went to college at the same time and then raised the kids. She said she would come home after class, and by then the kids were in school. She would sleep until they came home, and then she would do with the kids, feed them and get them to bed. And after she went to bed, then she would study. When she retired, she served 2 missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. From 1995 to 1997, she served a medical mission in Guatemala, the Guatemala mission. It's a Spanish-speaking mission. Although she could never speak or write Spanish, she could read Spanish. She loved serving in Guatemala. She loved the people there and the sisters she got to serve with when she wasn't using her nurse's skills. She said the elders were the most needy. Sorry, guys. 4 years later, she served in the Missouri St. Louis mission. She served there for 18 months. From 2001 to 2003. Missouri St. Louis was a proselyte mission. She taught many people there. She said that she loved the African American people the most because they were always so sweet and kind to them, and always inviting them to dinner and doing kind things for them. She said that she really missed them when she went home. She loved her second mission as well. Deanna and I and her 2 youngest boys, Tyler and Trevor, went and got Mom. And we got to see some of the sights there, and it was fun to visit Mom, and we had a good trip together. After returning home from Missouri for the next 7 years, she enjoyed working as a home health nurse, volunteering at Madison Memorial Hospital, and serving in the LDS Temple. I was blessed to get to attend the temple when Mom was serving there. It was a special time to be with her in the temple. Mom enjoyed many hobbies. She loved to paint. Many family members have pictures that she painted. She also loved to write stories. She wrote poetry and children's stories. Because of her love of writing, she did a lot of journaling. We have at least 50 or more journals. She enjoyed crocheting, which she made afghans for many of the members of her family. In her later years, she took up scrapbooking. She had several scrapbooks that she completed. Mom taught me to sew, a skill that I use throughout my life. I always think of Mom when I sew. She would sew clothes and pajamas for us, and I was always proud of what she did. I remember one time she was sewing and she ran the needle through her finger. And she sat there, and pretty soon she got up. She went and pulled it back out, put a Band-Aid on, and continued her project. In 2001, Mom started experiencing memory loss. She agreed to go into a assisted living where we knew that she would receive round-the-clock care. This was her pre-80 years. This is when she started getting dementia. And we had her 80th birthday where all of us got together, and that's the last time that we had a family gathering until now. She resided at the Gardens Assisted Living in Rigby, Idaho. The program that they had there would keep them active. They would take the residents out on outings, and Mom was always excited to go. She never missed a chance to go in on an outing. And then she lived in this homestead in Rexford where Deanna and Anita moved her there. And then Deanna and I moved Mom to the TPAC Assisted Living in Idaho Falls. I have missed Mom for a long time. As her dementia progressed, as she no longer knew who we were. When we went to visit, she would think we were one of the nurses, and she would ask for Pepsi and to get to go to bed or to lay down. Mom was a very happy and positive person. She lived a long and fulfilling life. She loved her family very much, and she loved her friends. She remained happy to the end. Mom would sing to us songs she remembered from high school. When I would take her on trips until she was unable to go, she would read to me on our travels. We love you, Mom.
I am Marion Keller, and I'm Paula's youngest sister. Out of a family of 10 kids, I am the youngest. She was the oldest. She was 17 years older than me. By the time I was 3 years old, Paula was married and had Charlene. Charlene is 2 years younger than I am. I remember Mom telling me that Paula was born in Cloton, North Dakota on my grandmother Stone's kitchen table. And every time a letter would come from her family, they would always ask how little 3 Ps was because of her name, Paula Patricia Van Bonner. When I was little, there was always so many people at the family in the house. And I thought that they were all my brothers and sisters. There was Paula and all of her children, my sister Clarice's son, and then there was various other kids there at all different times. I thought we were just one big happy family until I was a teenager and I found out the truth. One day a car drove up in front of the house, and I got up and I went and looked out the window and I told Mother. I said, Mother, your sister is here. Thinking it was my Aunt Hannah. She gets up, goes to the door, opens it up, and starts laughing. And I come over and look out, and Paula's coming up the step. And my mother turns around and said, she's not my sister, she's yours. And I was so humiliated and embarrassed, I cried. I lived with Paula and George when I was 18, and I helped her take care of the children, Deanna, Deborah, and made sure Charlene and Anita behaved, which was difficult. They were really good kids. And while I was living there, it was during the time that George passed away. And I can remember Paula working at the hospital nights and getting her degree in nursing. And when she became an RN, I was so proud of my big sister. And I have kind of focused my life on her being able to raise her children, work as a nurse, and accomplish everything she did in her life. And I was so proud of her. When I was living with her, I was 18 years old, and I would go on dates with boys. And when I come home, if I didn't immediately come in the house, she would flash the light 3 times on the porch. And that meant I was to come in. And I can tell you, there was many times I was happy she flashed that light. My dad moved us to North Dakota when I was 12 years old. I was in the 7th grade, and I faithfully wrote letters to Paula. And she always wrote back to me, and she wrote the most interesting letters I had ever read, and I still have them all. And she never forgot me. She always sent me a birthday card or a Christmas card or something. And as she got older and her memory started failing, I would get cards at odd times of the year, and at times I would even get 3 birthday cards in 1 month. And it wasn't always the month that I was born in, but she never forgot me. When I was 13, my brother Jimmy and I rode on the train from Williston, North Dakota to Cut Bank and spent the summer with George and Paula. And it was a fun time, really fun. George took us in as if we were his own children, gave us an allowance, took us fishing, took us picnicking, camping, hunting. And one night we came home from the lake, and it was so hot that the house was just stifling. So Paula opened up all the doors and the windows and everything, and George Jr. and Jimmy went and slept on the floor in the kitchen, or in the living room, in front of the TV. During the night, a storm come up, and the wind blew and slammed all the doors, and we all jumped up and came running out there just in time to see lightning strike the TV antenna, come down through the, came down through the, I guess I got her came down through the TV and burned a gash in the bottom of the TV and blew up the TV too. And all in all, the summer we spent there, it was fun and exciting because of that blown up TV. So, I don't want to repeat myself with what Charlene and everyone else said about Paula. But Paula was a little bit like Forrest Gump's mother, Mama. She would have all these funny adages that she would say all the time. And I remember her telling me at one time, learn everything you possibly can because your knowledge is the one thing they can never take from you. And I have never forgotten that. And then she would say if a man would hold the door open for her or help her with something, she'd always smile sweetly and say to him, "You're a gentleman and a scholar." And I remember riding with her in the car and the bike hit the windshield and she'd laugh and she'd say, "I bet he wouldn't have guts enough to do that again." And let me see here. After I got married, I used to go to visit with Paula a lot of times. And on one visit, she loaned me some of her journals, which I found very interesting because they were written before I was born. And a lot of what was written in the journals, I had never heard about my family. Like she had written that my dad had cranked an old car and broke his arm. And Mother had chased a skunk out from under the porch, and it ran into a pipe, and she went over and picked the pipe up and sprayed her in the face. And my dad wouldn't let her back in the house. But she had a lot of really funny sayings. And she was a joy to be around because she had such a happy personality. She was so much fun. And one thing I have come to realize as I've gotten older, when I was younger, it never dawned on me that maybe being the youngest in the family, one time in my life, I might end up being the last of the line. I'd be the caboose. Paula was the engine. And I found that the best thing you need to do as you get older is cherish the people in your family, because your family is your life. They're always there for you. They always love you. And when they're gone, you can't bring them back. And I am thankful for my brother Howard and my brother Jim, because now there's only 3 of us left. And they kind of close up the gap of those who are left to memory. And my cousin Dolores said something to me when my parents passed away. She said, "You do know now, don't you? You are the older generation." And I never thought of it that way, but she's right. I am the older generation. And I miss all of them. And I have all the memories of my whole family, but I miss Paula the most because she was my older sister and she was always there for me. Thank you.
I don't know, that's a hard act to follow. I'm sure you all know who I am. I'm the third of the family. Hi, sweetheart. Your aunt, your mother, your grandma, friends. Anyways, Paula Murphy, I called her mother. And she would always laugh when I'd say, "Oh, mother, come on, mother." Anyways, so here's a few of my memories. And Shawnee already had told you about her art. One time she always wanted me to do the stuff that she did. And so she wanted me to be an artist. And so she had me take a class with her to paint. Well, that was about the biggest disaster ever. But I did it. I worked really hard at it, and I was so proud of what I painted. It was called toll painting. And I made a couple of little plaques and some things that I was going to hang on my wall. And I got home, and my husband said, "Oh, what is that?" I said, "What do you mean, what is that?" "It's strawberries and a lemon." And he said, "Oh, well, I'm glad you told me that." Obviously, it didn't look like that to him. Anyways, when Mother moved us up here after my father passed away, that's when I think her love of traveling began, because we always had to go back home. And so she would move us here. We'd get our jobs, and we were going to school and all these things, and it was like once a month we went back home. And it didn't matter if it was winter, summer, the road's horrible, we took off in her whatever car she was driving at the time. And it would be myself and my 2 little sisters, Debbie and Deanna. And she always wanted to try a new route. And so we went on places that I thought I know it's not even on the map. We went places and it's like, are we ever going to get home back up to Cutbank? And we finally would make it there. One time she decided that she was going to take the little girls and go up to Montana to Grandma and Grandpa's house for Thanksgiving. And I was 19, I was going to cosmetology school, and she said, "Well, I've got all this stuff for Thanksgiving dinner, but we're going to Montana, so would you mind making dinner?" And I'm going, "You want me to make Thanksgiving dinner?" And she goes, "Yes." And I'm thinking, well, the only thing I've ever made is brownies. So, okay, so I worked at it real hard, and I had to cook for my brother George and my Uncle Jim. And, well, the rest of the story is we did have dinner. I don't know how great it was, but I did master having a Thanksgiving dinner for them. One of the trips when she went up to Montana, she decided to buy a brand new car. And so she bought a 1971 Plymouth Duster, hot pink. And whenever we saw Mother coming, you could see her a mile away because she had that hot car just barreling down the road. And yeah, she was a fast driver, by the way. And she was so proud of that car because it was her very first brand new car that she could ever afford to buy. When Mother started to get she started to get dementia, she was actually really cute. She was a happy, happy person. And all the nurses in the home would say, I want to be a dementia patient just like Paula. But she was never unhappy. She was funny. She was just a pleasure to be around, and everyone seemed to just absolutely love her. And so one day I was doing her hair, and she always had these great ideas. Every time I was doing her hair, she had another great idea. So she says to me, you know, Anita, I decided something. I said, what's that, Mom? And she said, well, I think I've decided to live to be 100. And I said, Mother, you promised 90. And she said, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. So anyways, and so the last few hours of her life, it was so cute because all the people in the facility came and told Mom goodbye. And they hugged her and kissed her and sobbed and said, we're going to miss you so much. It was so cute. Yeah, she was a fighter, and it took her quite a few hours to finally pass away, but Deanna and her family were there, and Heather came over, and it was just so sweet. And I know that she loves each and every one of us, and she told me many times how much she loved all of her family. And I told somebody this earlier, she said to me one time too, she said, you know, there's so many of us and we all need to celebrate our birthdays, but we can't always get together, so I got a really super idea. And I said, oh, what's that, Mom? And she said, I think we should have a cupcake for everybody in the family, and we'll celebrate it on one day of the year. And then that way that, you know, we can celebrate everybody's birthday. And I said, oh, great. When will that be? She said, on June 6th. Which was her birthday. Anyways, I loved her. She was fun. She was happy. Like, she said some of the funniest stuff, and Pepsi was her favorite, and Big Newtons was her other favorite, and pork and beans was another favorite. Anyways, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Mom, I love you. Anita and I said we were going to make this short and sweet, so bear with us. Like Charlene said, we grew up 30 miles from the Canadian border, and one of my fondest memories is when I was a little girl. At night in the summertime, we'd have a bath, and then we'd go sit out on the porch, and we could see the aurora borealis, the northern lights. And one time a teacher in school asked if anybody knew what it was called, and I could say the aurora borealis. I was so proud of myself, and that was thanks to my mom. When she moved us here in 1967, I was 8 or 9 years old, and Debbie and I had long hair. She had Anita cut, somebody at the school cut our hair in the Pixies. Try coming from Cutbank, Montana, a tiny little town, to what we thought was a metropolis, Idaho Falls, and having to have a pixie. I just want you to know, Mom, we forgive you. We did finally forgive you. And I want to ask her for forgiveness because I know when I was a teenager, lots of times I would lay down, and when we go down Main Street, I would lay down. I would not let anybody see me with my mom. So, Mom, please forgive me for that. She loved music, and usually she had music playing at her house. And if you were mad at her or asking her a question, she could come up with a song with the words to what you had just said to her. When you said I love you, it was I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you, and she said that a lot. Yeah. She loved to go to plays and concerts, and that's where I think a lot of us get our love for those. She'd take us to Rick's College. The Halloween concert was her favorite. She took her little grandkids to that a lot. Her and I together would take my little kids to Plainville. And one time we went on a Saturday, and we couldn't get to the afternoon session, so we had to go to the 8:30 one. And so it was dark by the time we came home. And if any of you live here, you know the water place where you can stop just out of West Yellowstone. Well, we stopped there. as we got back in the car, I was going around the corner at least 55 miles an hour, and there was a dead moose there. And I literally dukes to hazarded over the moose. Trevor and Tyler were in the back seat, and Trevor's Game Boy went and hit Grandma right in the back of the head. And yeah, we got through it, but anyway. Mom liked to take walks, and my friend Jeanette and I would walk a lot, and Mother would come even, when she got older, she could keep up with us. Let me tell you, she could keep up with us. The pink duster, it was hot pink, but the name was Moulin Rouge, and Mom made sure she knew it was Moulin Rouge, and I had a lot of people say she was the little old lady from Pasadena. I'm going to end with one funny story. Mom was a nurse at Madison Memorial, and she worked when it was the old Madison Memorial. So in the emergency room, it only had 2 emergency rooms, and they faced each other. And one time I had an allergic reaction from something, and Joel was at the store, couldn't take off, and so Mom came and got me and took me to the emergency room. So we get up there, and there was a man in the other emergency room, and he could see us, we could see him, and the nurse came in to put an IV in, and she could not get it in. And so she looked at Paula, of course she knew her, and she said, "Do you want to try?" So Mom gets up and starts the IV, and she looks at the guy and she goes, "In this hospital, if the nurses can't get the IVs in, we ask the moms." The guy had a literal panic look on his face, and they didn't tell him for a few minutes. Mom put the IV in, and then she turned around and she said, "Not really, I'm a nurse." She was quite a spunky lady, and yeah, her little heart wanted to keep on going to the bitter end. And I just want, Mother, we love you, we're grateful for you, and we're grateful that we are a family. Thank you. Forgive us we had never done a funeral before, so forgive us. As you can tell, the opening hymn didn't quite pan out, but Tracy Grant is going to just play the last hymn, "God Be With You Till We Meet Again." Did you make copies?
As a surprise for Deanna, you're all going to sing.
Oh, you are precious.
4
Oh,
copies
my.
for each row, so if you'll all share and sing loudly, for I have not played in quite some time. You're excited.
You get one big. Make sure you sing. I know the words.
Thank you, you're so kind.
Das sprechen Sie sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Scheiße.
Dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity to be able to come together one last time with Grandma to celebrate her life. Father, we are thankful for the feelings that we felt here today, and the spirit we felt, and the remembrance and the memories and all the wonderful things about Grandma. Father, we ask you to please bless us now as we travel to the cemetery, that we can all drive safely and have one last hurrah with Grandma. We love thee and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, crazy.
Congregation, please stand.
I'll let you know.
Do you remember these? What? Standing. Hey, boys. I get up fast.
Good. It's good to see you.
Get up.
Oh, it was pain.